when I mentioned my nephew this summer, he was in Lego camp. I was pretty impressed, but look what he made. And I looked at that. What do you think that looks like?
I know, it's sort of the nod to the future.
Welcome to another episode of The Fast and the Curious. I'm fascinated by all things business, technology, electric vehicles, and most importantly, meeting new people. Today, I have the opportunity to meet with Sohel Merchant, co-founder and in charge of vehicle architecture at Canoo. So let's get this show on the road. Sohel, it's so nice to finally meet you. Air high five instead of a handshake.
I know, air high five, elbow.
Obviously, we had to push this back a couple times due to COVID, but I'm excited to learn more about Canoo. So I guess first things first, I mean, can you tell me who is Canoo and basically what y'all are about?
We wanted to, first and foremost, be a nod to the future of autonomous vehicles. We started in 2018 with the goal of building electric vehicles. The main goal was to build on a common skateboard with multiple top hats. The idea would be to launch with the first vehicle, which is the Loft on wheels or the city van, and then move forward and launch other vehicles on the same skateboard. Vehicles may not look the same. They don't have to look the same. You don't have a big engine. You don't need a big hood. Space inside is important, and also do something affordable for the cities.
I'm excited to really have a look inside. I guess we could mask up and head in.
Let's do it.
All right, well, beautiful interior, loving that. Between the time we were originally scheduled and now, I'm actually kind of happy because a lot of headlines have happened for Canoo since. The first of which was back in early 2020. You guys announced a partnership with Hyundai about a skateboard. So if you could tell me a little bit about what exactly a skateboard is. This is obviously much larger than Bart Simpson's skateboard or just a skateboard in general. What does that mean and what is that partnership with Hyundai?
So starting with the skateboard, what we wanted to do is do what makes sense. And so if we're building multiple vehicles, we wanted to make sure that the powertrain elements, the bottom elements that drive the top are all integrated, and we can design them once, manufacture them once, and then have other top hats on it. So when I say skateboard, it is sort of the battery, the motor, and other components that drive the skateboard independently of the top hat.
And when you say top hat, that's everything above the skateboard?
That is correct. So what we're sitting in currently, that is the top hat.
Where did that term come from? I've never heard that.
You know, you go out to Venice Beach here, there's a lot of people on the skateboard, propelling themselves. And you've seen the skateboard video. It's pretty cool where we're just driving the skateboard around.
Right.
And the ability to move people just on the skateboard is something we sort of thought was cool.
The skateboard you guys designed, I assume that's proprietary. And then Hyundai's saying, hey, we want that technology, or hey, you like sell us skateboards and then we're gonna build our own vehicle on top of that, like the top hat basically.
Sure, so the Hyundai project was sort of developing a slightly different skateboard. I can't go into too much details of that project, but clearly they were very impressed with the technology, the engineering of our skateboard. And so we built on that, but worked on a program with them for their products.
The other impressive headline was you guys just announced, I think 2 months ago, that you are going public, IPO. Does that complete that process?
The merger will complete in the next, like the last quarter, so next few months.
Okay.
And so currently, clearly, we've tied up with Hennessy, which is a SPAC.
Okay.
And we merge in the next couple months.
Yeah, that seems to be really popular, the SPAC kind of IPO path.
Quite a few of those merging. It made sense for us, and we're excited about that moving forward. It allows us to bring our vision to reality.
I really want to understand the business model of Canoo. I'm really trying to understand who is the target market and like the ideal user.
The idea is to, people don't like commitments. Years before you had multiple year contracts or commitments with cell phones, you don't have that anymore. And we want to make sure that we offer a non-committal basis subscription.
I'd love to hear about the sustainability story of Canoo. And one of the things that I think is also impressive is Governor Gavin Newsom of California just announced about 3 weeks ago a mandate to ban the sale of gas cars after 2035. So I'd love to hear your take on that, but also what Canoo's doing to address sustainability.
You know, the biggest step is the fact that we're all electric, but then there's many little things that we sort of adopt and think about and act on, such as even things like when we're looking for spaces, we didn't say, oh, let's just go break ground and build a new facility.
Okay.
You know, we said, let's find a facility that makes sense. There's, you know, little disruption in terms of what we have to do. I'm co-chair of the sustainability committee. You know, we're trying to always have actions like trying to get sustainable power to this area. We're still working through actions like that.
So does that mean like solar, whatever?
Yeah.
Alternative renewable energy to
Exactly.
the building? Okay.
You know, and or even little things, or not so little things as ride sharing, encouraging that in the workplace.
We're here in Torrance. I was kind of curious, do founders pick based on where you conveniently are located and living, or is there another reason to have Canoo based in Torrance?
Yeah, I think early on it started with where everybody was. Clearly, LA is there's a lot of startups here. It has sort of the right mindset, the right people as well. That, you know, when I first moved here for Tesla, it was incredibly hard to find talent because, you know, it was not where automotive was. You had the advanced design studios here, but not the engineering in general. Now it's changed. There's a lot of, you know, automotive startups actually moving here.
Are y'all manufacturing only here or elsewhere?
Current manufacturing mass production plans we manufacture in North America. We're working to the details of that. Our beta vehicles were completed at this facility.
I'm always curious by people who are in this space, especially in your position, a founder, an entrepreneur. I mean, do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
I think so, for sure. I mean, you know, we started discussions in my backyard,
Nice.
You know, and clearly the team, the co-founding team, is larger than the team that was in my backyard.
What was your undergraduate degree?
It was bachelor's was in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have a master's in industrial.
As most Indians, my path is usually we grow up, we get a job, and then you expect to get a job and stay secure. Now, do you feel differently in that when you're coming out of college, I just want to get a job, or did you have this, I want to try something on my own?
Yes, it's very interesting. I mean, talking about sort of, you know, my sister's a doctor, I'm an engineer, so quite traditional from that standpoint. Clearly, I've always been hungry in terms of doing something myself, and always been looking out for that, coupled with misfortune in terms of the previous startup didn't quite go, which is a catalyst.
The one before?
Yeah, before Canoo. So clearly a catalyst always helps to propel you into the next sort of, you know, goal.
So the appetite has to be rich to your point, having failed, you know, a startup failed, and people will say that's necessary, but to be hungry again to do it, like I wonder if that's, hey, we got close, I want to try again, or at some point I think the appetite is just, I want to keep going on my own. I don't know if entrepreneurs ever really, unless in deep struggle, have to go back to work for someone. So, you know, I'm just trying to understand the DNA and makeup of the blood and mindset of entrepreneurs.
Personally, I think I'm pretty risky. From my time going from Ford to Tesla as well, being on a visa was pretty tough, where every second day someone got fired out after I would be deported back if that happened, but I still took the chance, knowing well what I was getting into. And then out of Tesla, when we went from, when I joined, there were a few hundred people. It grew. When I left, it was 14,000. I wanted to do it all over again.
Oh, nice.
You're always hungry, I think, you know, to do what's exciting and what makes sense. You can't necessarily expect that the first idea you pick is going to win. Being dejected because the first time things failed, it's just experience that you need to continue to grow and succeed the next time around. But it does work out for some people right off the bat the first time.
I feel like that's called luck.
I feel like, and I don't necessarily sort of, you know, believe in luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of a matter of keep trying and learning, and don't repeat the same mistakes, and don't get too comfortable. I mean, that's the biggest problem you might have.
Well, I'd love to kind of understand what all we're looking at here in the car. So if you want to tell me a little bit about the features, everything that's happening on the inside.
This vehicle is a nod to the future. As we're sitting here, we're sitting in this space that, the wheelbase is 2850. It's sort of the footprint of a Prius, but clearly on the inside, it's far larger.
Oh, it's so roomy.
It's got space of a, large SUV. We've got many cool features. We have visible airbags. We have a street view window. We have no engine, and we want to celebrate that. It's almost like a feeling of being on a motorcycle.
Even like the Flintstones.
Yeah, well,
It's just a straight shot view of the front. Okay.
I drive a Tesla, and sometimes I still have my cell phone there because I prefer some of the apps and navigation systems on that. And we said, wait a minute, why don't we just have an amazing cell phone stand? People are already using that. Let's do what makes sense. And on the steering wheel, it's unique. We have steer-by-wire. We don't have a physical link between the steering wheel and the steering rack. So traditionally, you have a mechanical connection. We don't have that. It's all electronic. We wanted to make sure you have enough light. And so we have sort of glass on the top. We have these cool features we call sort of, safari windows. So if you're sitting, at the beach and you want to get some air in, you can, do that. The seating, we wanted to make sure that traditional seating doesn't really make it feel like a loft, a space you want to be in. Vehicles, a lot of times it's a space you want to get out of. In the front, we have seats that face rearward, like if you're having a conversation, you have a few more seats. Pegboards that you can hang a flower pot or a bag.
So far, I haven't seen a cup holder, but is that what maybe the pegboard would be designed for or something?
Yeah, so we have cup holders. We can design cars in the US without cup holders.
Certainly not unless it's 32 ounces.
I always joke, you put the cup holders where they need to be and design the car around that. It's that important.
Has COVID changed any of the features? I was actually specifically thinking like antimicrobial surfaces. I'm wondering what COVID has done to a business like Canoo and what changes have processed.
One of the features that we've had pre-COVID, and I think it's even more important, is we have a filtration system that's actually under the seat.
Air filtration?
Air filtration, and that's important to sort of make sure we get the right air in this environment.
So what's the top speed this car can hit?
125 miles per hour is what we've sort of designed this vehicle for. Clearly, you don't find yourselves going that fast, but we want to ensure that if you do need to, you can pass somebody.
And what's the range?
250 miles on a full charge,
What type of charger is on board the vehicle?
Yeah, so we have, again, onboard charger that, charges this vehicle if you're plugging in overnight. The big sort of important thing is we are fast charge capable as well.
Oh, nice.
Under 30 minutes, we can get a 20 to 80% charge.
Being Indian, when I saw this, I feel like we both could relate. What would be awesome, you've probably seen Barats, like entrance to the wedding, come in on a horse, but I could totally see cutting the top of this, having a DJ here, and just people like, right? Like, I'm down to get in that business if you want.
Well, I'm working on that Indian launch soon, so we'll get right on that.
Yeah, self-driving Barat would be awesome. I think originally y'all were set to get to market, I think in late 2021. Is that still on track?
Yeah, we've said 2022. As everybody else, we've needed to make some adjustments. We made the call a few weeks prior. We wanted to sort of be responsible, and so that was the best decision we made. We were prepared well in advance.
Any interesting features you feel that you can speak about that have been scrapped from this car? So just some of the wackiest, looniest features that someone had proposed, but it didn't quite make it.
Concrete floors were something that didn't make it.
Why would they do concrete floors?
In lofts, it's kind of cool to have concrete floors or things like that, and you see that. So
this one's concrete, or?
Yeah, the show car. Yeah. So this, and clearly, it just from a weight perspective and just
overall, I would think that'd be crazy heavy.
Yeah.
I know, doing my research and homework on you, that you have successfully filed some patents, I think specifically when you were at maybe Ford and some past companies.
I've never taken patents seriously. I've got a few, I don't even know how many I have. I don't keep track.
In researching patents and automotive ones, I came across something that talked about, some of the craziest automotive patents. So now I'd like to play a game I call Real or Fake. The first wacky automotive patent. So I want to hear from you if you think this is Real or fake?
Sure.
A conveyor belt to help shift shopping. So why reach all the way into the back of your car for that last shopping bag when you can have a conveyor belt bring it straight to you? Real or fake?
Real.
You're right, that one's real.
Makes sense.
That was a real pen. Yeah. See, I wonder if it's the engineering and you was like, that's a problem. Yes, someone would file
Then
it.
there's a next part to it, like, is it worth the mass and cost and complexity of doing it and also
Exactly.
pay for it? But
Yeah, not economical probably. So the second wacky automotive patent, customizable car defroster. Windows that will defrost snow or frost in such a way that you can customize text and designs onto the windows, like early morning reminders.
It's possible, but you'll fail the defrost test.
So real or fake patent?
Real.
That one is fake.
Oh man, it's
you're
possible.
On,
but
you're onto it, yeah. So I like how you like it would fail the defrost test. A sticky car bonnet. A safety feature designed to stop people being run over. This solution acts like flypaper to pedestrians, ensuring they stick to the bonnet on impact.
That's fake.
You know what's funny? That was the first patent I read that set me onto this game. Because I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Is that even a common occurrence to be hitting pedestrians that it's so much a problem we gotta...
No, but there are lots of automotive requirements that we design where the hoods have to sort of compress and take the energy off the
Oh my
pedestrian.
goodness. Convertible hood that turns into a projector screen. For those young couples today, looking for a bit of nostalgia and creating a drive-in theater anywhere. The hood pulls out and lifts vertically to become a projector screen.
That's cool. That's real.
Real?
Yeah.
That one's made up by me. I guess I
Well,
need
you
to
should patent it.
I should totally file a
should
patent for that. So the last one, I think it's totally adequate for the LA market and Houston, where I'm from, driving around. We all have road rage. So this is the pop-up middle finger. Self-explanatory, but at the press of a button, a hand-like object pops up off of the roof of the car to let others around you know what you think of their poor driving. Fake or real?
Is it possible to do? Yes. Would you do it? The aerodynamic guys would throw a fit with something sticking out from the top. Man, that's let's say that's fake.
Yes, you nailed the last one, fake. That concludes this edition of The first thing when I came to know of Canoo, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Canoo almost marketed initially as a self-driving vehicle. So I noticed you mentioned the steering wheel, it's obviously there. Is this now meant to be sold initially as, hey, you can drive it and then we'll enable self-driving like a lot of car manufacturers are doing, or will you go to market strictly as autonomous?
Now, so in 2022, we don't anticipate being fully autonomous. Clearly, the regulations have to catch up as well. And so, yes, you will have a driver driving this car.
Okay.
We have all the hardware in this vehicle already packaged and available.
And I guess software.
And software is over-the-air update. So as the software sort of progresses and gets better, we can sort of have that go out to the cars over the air.
Okay.
And progressively make the cars better.
I've got a 4-year-old niece and a 7-year-old nephew. Do you think in their lifetime they will have to get a driver's license?
I always joke with my son that he's not going to get a chance to drive.
Yeah.
I always joke with him. But you know what's funny is there's so many 16, 17-year-olds today that don't have a driver's license.
True.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they're just ride sharing. You know, their dads are really mad that they're not washing the cars because that connection between cars and people doesn't exist like it did in the
true.
60s, 70s, or in my generation. So-
Right. Well, let's hop out and see what else you got.
It's hot outside. I wasn't expecting this heat for this time of year, but I'm ready to hit Manhattan Beach if you are.
Let's go do it. Let's take a drive.
So this is definitely more bare bones than what we were sitting in earlier.
That's right.
And you call this the beta car.
We call this the beta car.
So I'm really digging the clear screen you were pointing out earlier. Now I can see it kind of up close and personal.
Yeah, it's sort of, it's sort of twofold. One is it's awesome to have the ability to see down there, like, being on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
The other part is we don't have a big engine. And so kind of acknowledging the fact that it's just space, having space in the front is great.
The infotainment center would be right in front of us.
Yeah, so the display up in front there kind of has our basic information like speed, navigation, that's fed from your phone So the main interface is your phone. We provide a phone holder on the left or the right,
Okay.
wherever you prefer.
Okay.
And all your media content is right out of your phone. Clearly we have amplifiers and speakers for the audio experience, but we recognize that people continue to use their phones for the best navigation, and that's what we provide.
I wanted to quickly answer one of the questions you'd asked me a bit earlier about, just how maybe crowded the space was of, I guess you called it press, which I have a trouble digesting.
I'm sorry for offending you there.
Yeah, no. It's I guess it's a good thing. This is cool to be a part of the future and see early stages. Like, to think that I'm seeing, people saw Tesla 2012. I feel like I'm seeing Canoo in its early days, which I feel I look fondly back on.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things, inspiration and, a couple pointers can change people's lives, and along the way where you meet successful people and they give you some, pointers and inspiration can make the difference. I'll take a ride here, maybe just quickly show sort of, we have steer-by-wire, one of the unique features of our vehicles.
Okay.
You don't, for slow speeds, you can just sort of have a turn. You don't have to have hand-over-hand turn and kind of just, turn really easily, and you can see the street view window.
Yeah.
At slow speeds, you can just turn left. The wheel, we have variable wheel ratios.
Yeah.
So really, really easy to maneuver this vehicle.
Yeah, so far it's smooth, it's quiet.
This car doesn't have any of the NVH treatments, noise, vibration, and harshness. The work we need to do to make the cars quiet, but in spite of that, it's pretty good.
I'm curious, how many employees are you at today?
We have 300 employees,
Wow.
and we're continuing to hire.
And y'all hiring across the board, all positions, business, engineering?
Pretty much. I mean, we are an engineering-focused company, but
Okay.
pretty much every area at this point is, in growth, in the growth phase. So yes, we are.
Well, that's exciting to hear that you're growing and hiring. You're going public later this year, officially. So last thing is, just want to make sure that folks can really find out more. So where do they get plugged in to follow Canoo and learn more?
Yeah, sure. So clearly our website's a great starting point. We have all our job positions there. All the latest events show up there. But then also on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're follow us there.
Well, thanks again, Sohel, so much for the ride, the tour, answering all the questions, teaching me about entrepreneurship. I really appreciate your time and this opportunity. So.
Thank you for coming down and making the trip, and glad to have participated.